y'all. Hey.
Hey, y'all.
I'm Crystal.
And I'm Lisa.
And we are
That's right.
your favorite sister podcast. Unplugged.
Back again.
I know y'all might be tired of these little unplugged, tired of how ghetto these. I don't even know if it, at least, look, I feel like.
We're trying to get the right angle. Unplugged. It's unplugged, guys.
Unplugged.
Y'all know what we doing. Y'all know what we doing this
Look,
at.
can y'all just grant us some grace?
Please.
Be a little patient with us, please. So look, y'all know we unplugging. This is shot in my house, shot on my iPhone, edited on my iPhone. No production. This is just me and my sister chit chatting, hanging out. But y'all don't get many more of these.
We're not. Yep, y'all not. Mm-mm.
Because we have a huge surprise coming mid-July.
Oh
so, and look, we can just say it. Like, That's Right is coming back.
We back, guys.
We back. New production company.
Yeah.
Very, very, very excited. So we will
Yes.
come back with real stuff that has nothing to do with me doing any shooting, editing, lighting.
These unplugs. We just kind of entertaining you guys in the interim because y'all are asking.
Yes.
Y'all are asking for content. Y'all are asking to see Crystal and Elisa. So we having fun. Just
hello, we're here.
doing our little thing. But yes, I'm so excited, y'all. I can't wait. We are on to something bigger and better.
Bigger and better.
Yeah.
Awesome and awesomer.
Yeah.
So tune in. We're going to do some promo, but if you're watching the unplugs and you're wanting like a better quality thing, we got y'all. We know y'all need better quality.
It's all about the content.
Look,
It
is all about the because that's what y'all asking for. Ain't nobody
That's
said
all.
I ain't gonna stop watching until y'all get the professional production crew in there.
Nobody.
Y'all, it's like
we done have the worst of the worst.
It's been bad.
We're not gonna talk about it. We ain't gonna talk about it.
Y'all. Anyway, we appreciate y'all for rocking with us for real. Y'all know we try to keep these real short, 45 minutes. We 2 minutes in, just with the chit chat. So we do. Lisa can look. It's not gonna be no cuts. So Lisa might just have to say, "Yo, we're not gonna talk about that," and then I have to just move on and be a little bit embarrassed. Woo! But that's okay. That's okay, and it can't be no cuts. I don't know how to cut. But for real, I think we're gonna end up calling this "Are You Happy?" And I want to talk a little bit about my own situation. Lisa might want to talk about her situation. She might not. Lisa is not as transparent. Let me say this. Lisa, we are transparent, but she don't tell as much as I do. I don't feel like, and I think that's fair, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So I don't really know how to start off because I know what I want to say. I want to jump into
it's a
it.
lot, right?
But I talked in the previous episodes about like having some challenges in my marriage, and that's I mean this can apply to any relationship that you can't like easily just walk out of or whatever. So I recently my hair, y'all know I'm gonna do something, say something because I can see myself. These curls is curling. Anyway,
definitely.
I had some challenges in my marriage recently, and so I'm trying to think. I said, Lisa, this is on the old
She said, marriage and challenges. Oh, Lord.
And I can't even, because I have not approved this with my husband.
Okay.
So I do have to kind of wait or whatever, because we did just decide to talk about this just now. But Lisa's in a situation, and so when we were talking, I think there are always going to be challenges, but we are kind of out. My husband and I are kind of out of our weird phase, and so, but it lasted for a little bit. It lasted for a little bit, and so. Which
I think that's typical, right? Things happen in relationships, right? You go through your little phases.
Yeah,
so.
I think you do, and so. But one of the things, so we're gonna title this "Are You Happy?"
Oh, you happy.
So one of the things that I noticed about myself was when I get upset, I will if I get upset and I feel like I'm not getting relief, or if I get upset and I feel like my husband is not, he may have apologized, or like, I'm sorry, babe, whatever. I didn't think he was gonna take it like that, or whatever the reason, he may have apologized, but I may feel like this is the third time you've done something like this, or this thing, and your apology is not enough for me. And I realized, and I don't think I realized when I was doing it, but I realized in reflecting on myself that sometimes I will maintain an attitude. Like, he's apologized. He wants to move on, right? Like, and I think that's a fair thing that we move on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, okay, like, you apologized last time. Mm-hmm. And, like, we're still here. Mm-hmm. And so I walk around the house kind of with an attitude. Not very clear. Very clear. Not kind of. With a whole attitude. And, like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to. And I have to, you know, put it together in my time, right? Like, I'm just like, I just need my space from you. And while I do think, like, protecting your mental health is very healthy, and I think that's something that you have to do, when you're in a relationship, that's not something you can just ghost, easily cut off. Like, marriage, you can't really cut that off. You can't really cut off your kids. You can't really cut off your parents. I mean, and some of y'all are cutting off your parents, and by all means, like, I do get to do what you do. But you know what I'm saying? Not those, like, relationships where it's like a coworker and, I don't have to talk to them no more, right? This is a situation, especially in marriage, where it's supposed to be till death do us part. Especially if you're Christian and you have decided that, or love God, you know, and you have decided that this is going to be your forever, and then someone has done something to you that you feel like it's a lot for you, and somebody else might be like, "Girl, you tripping? He ain't did this, and he ain't," and you're kind of like, "Well, my standard is not like that he treat me like complete dirt, right?" Mm-hmm. Like, that's where. So this affects me. But I found myself, like, kind of walking around with an attitude, having an attitude, and it, because I'm trying to prove a point to my husband, because I'm trying to let him know, like, I'm still mad. Like, this is how grave the thing that you did was, right? Like, this is how major it was. I'm not going to get over it in 30 minutes. I'm not going to get over it in a day. I'm not going to get over it in a week. I want you to feel the weight of my silence. I want you to feel the weight of me withdrawing myself. No, I'm not going to get a divorce. No, I'm not going to do that. But you are going to feel how what you did affected me. Right or wrong, that's not, like, even if he was wrong, right? Like, I'm not saying, like, oh, he could have been right and you're taking it the wrong way, right? Like, no, this is, like, unequivocally, my husband's wrong, right? Like, he doesn't think he was right. I don't think he's right. Like, it's not a maybe he was and I misinterpreted it. Nah, you was wrong, right? Like, for real. Mm-hmm. And so, but if I'm a stay, I don't, it is abusive of me. And it's just really outside of God, of me to give him the cold shoulder, to say, I want to treat you in this manner because I am hurting. And so then Lisa and I were talking earlier, like, but then it permeates the rest of my life. Because then now, like, because it's not really, I mean, I'm sure he's hurt, and I know that he's hurt, and I know that he's affected by it, but it's like, it's also hurting me. I'm holding back my love, and I don't even want to say, it's not love that's being held back, it's affection, but that's his love language, right? So he is feeling like I'm holding back my love, and yes, he messed up, but you don't get to be abusive. Like, if you're gonna stay, you have to stay. You don't get to stay halfway. Right? Like, you don't get to be like, well, I love God and I'm going to stay in this marriage and then mistreat your partner. Right? And so, but then I realized, like, not only am I walking around the house with an attitude, my whole life is like, while I'm smiling on the outside and I'm in court and I'm greeting judges and I'm having that good, the good conversation with the bailiffs, and I'm, talking to people who may not be as close as I am. Like, my friends, for the most part, 2 people really close to me, know about my situation or whatever, but while I is unplugged, my son is really walking downstairs. That's all right. See you later. Love you. Have a good day. Unplugged. Yeah. Welcome to the Wright household. Okay. But, like, it's not just my husband who is feeling the effects of it. It's me. And it's everybody around me. And so, and even when I am on, because I'm mom and I have to make sure that everything is okay and I can't burden my children with the weight of what I'm going through, it is the mask that I have to wear, right? Because you don't turn that hurt and that withdrawal of your love off and on, right? Like, so it's off, it's whatever, but you're masking it and you're good. And you're having those conversations with your kids, you're having those conversations with people. And it's just like, when you go home, that's not real happiness that you're a part of. You're not experiencing real peace, real joy. You just know that you cannot break down. You know that you cannot be as transparent with these people. So when you come home, you take that mask off and you're back there. And so it's just like, even to say, well, everything else in my life is good, but it's not. And that's why I thought about this, like, are you happy because you're not? And it's like the judge didn't do anything, your boss didn't do anything, your friends didn't do anything, your kids didn't do anything. But what you are enduring is permeating those relationships, whether or not you know it, and it's permeating you. And so, and then it is hindering like healing in your relationship because you want to prove a point. And I get it though, Lisa, because like for me, like, it's like, but if I let in, and this is my thought process, y'all call me crazy. Y'all could think I'm stupid at everything else. I'm sure y'all think I'm stupid with this.
No.
But it's
I'm
like,
sure not.
If I let go too soon, then maybe he thinks he did it, he can do it again, he can whatever. So the longer I stay distant, maybe he will remember it for the next time. But then I'm breaking down because I love my husband. I don't want to be distant. I desire to be over it, but I feel like if I just give in, if I just say, okay, I accept your apology, and sometimes people don't, my husband is going to apologize who he is, but sometimes people in relationships with the other person doesn't apologize, and so it makes it a million times harder because I have familiar relationships where people don't apologize, and it makes it a million times harder to get over it, especially if there's no apology. But then to walk around and just be like, nope, don't touch me, please. Like, watch the game, do the thing, don't touch me. But I want to be touched. I want to be touched by someone who would not have done that to me, done the thing, right? But I'm not doing anything to contribute to making it better. Because now I've entered self-protection mode.
Stuck in your zone.
You enter self-protection mode.
Yes.
And so my husband and I, like I said, in coming out of our thing, we have decided to, talk, try to get resolution and not hold on to it. And it's funny because at first I was like, okay, I'm not going to hold on to it. After a couple weeks, I'm going to be okay. And then something will trigger me. And I'm just kind of like, you just did this. And he's like, babe, we can't keep going back there. I'm like, you can't keep going back there because you're the one who did it, right? Like, it's easy for you to be like, get over it, right? Because you weren't wronged. I was wrong.
Yes.
Whole time, like, if you're going to be like that, just leave. And he's never said that to me because he is awesome. He's never said, like, if you treat me like this, you might as well leave. But it's like, for me, like, I look at it and I practice family law. And so, like, I deal with, like, divorce and stuff all the time. And when people are wronged and they stay in relationships, and I have clients who are like, I did this and my husband never forgave me. He did all these things and it's like 12 years later. And I'm like, he could have just left. Like, he could have just said, not tortured you. But instead, for 10 years, he's held this thing over your head and he's tortured you. And even though, in my experience, because it's not just the one thing, it's a couple times things have happened. It's not been like 10 years, but it's like, I'm holding this over your head and I'm torturing you. And so with this last thing, I made a decision. It took me a couple weeks, but I made a decision to forgive and to move and let that forgiveness look like forgetting.
I like that.
And baby, that thing hard.
You
hear me?
It's a struggle.
You hear me?
It is a struggle. It is. It's a struggle.
The other day I said, if my husband was God, I'm gonna say something. I gotta tell you this real fast. I told my sister this, and she said, "God wouldn't treat us like this."
Thank you.
Yes, girl. Talk to him. No, for real. Like, I get that, and I feel that.
Yeah.
But I am supposed to do everything as unto the Lord. So if I'm gonna stay here, I have to do it as unto the Lord. And so if I am going to decide that I want to be in this relationship, what would God demand of me? If God unplugged my dog, y'all know she be
in the mix, in the scenes.
But like, if God was here and he was watching how I dealt with my husband, I am not saying that God is not going to deal with my husband and the thing that he's done, right? But I don't get to be abusive. Nope, I don't. I know that touch is your love language. I don't want to give you that right now. And be clear, it's not that I don't love my husband, because of the love is. That's why I'm like that. That's why I did. I'm like, I love this man. So it's not that the love is not there. It is. I feel like this space is not good for me, and I don't want to be here with you right now. So you have to wait until I get ready. But if Christ came down into my bedroom and was like, Crystal, I would want him seeing me love my husband when it was hard. And showing my husband, I can say all day, like, I still love you, because we're going to say I love you, even through everything. We weren't walking around here not saying we love each other, because we do. But it's like, not just saying and not saying, like, he knows I love him, but like, am I embracing him? And am I talking with him? Am I praying with him? Am I praying for him the way I would had he not wronged me? And would God be pleased with my behavior? And that's what's kind of arresting to me. Would God be pleased with what I am doing? Because in all I do, I want to please God, and I don't get to turn off pleasing God because somebody pissed me off. He made me mad, Lord. You saw him do this. So I'm gonna need this little pass right here. And God, whole time, like, I saw him and I got him, and I got you. Let me deal with him, but you don't get to change who you are because you feel slighted or wronged or whatever. Because God loves him too. And I have to treat God's people like God loves it. I'm not the only one that God loves. A lot of times we're raging in church talking about we God's favorite. And that's kind of inclusive. God gave his son while we were yet sinners. Ain't no God's favorite. God loved that man just like he loved me. And he is dealing with him just like he is dealing with me. And he is forgiving him just like he is forgiving me for walking around here not showing him love. I don't get to say I have a love for him. I got to show that man love. And so I did. I decided. I was driving home and I said, Lord, I want to love him the way, if God was my actual physical husband, oh, the way I love God. Now, yes, true, he wouldn't wrong me, but we ain't perfect, right? Like I heard, God created marriage, Adam and Eve, in a perfect world, and we are trying to carry on marriage in a now imperfect world after the fall. It's a hard thing. Mm-hmm. It's a hard thing. Mm-hmm. But God still, like, God is love. And I don't get to get on here and talk about how I love God and I love my kids and all that. And it's not about y'all. It's not about people. It's just about my life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I don't get to say I am upset. And so now, until I get relief, I'm not going to treat you well. And I think I just let God deal with that. Or I leave, right? Like, the door is always available for me to walk out of. I don't get to sit here and be, for all intents and purposes, abusive, saying, well, I want to hold on to my marriage. Well, then hold on to your marriage. You don't get to hold on to your marriage in all of this negativity. Hold on to your marriage like you were never wronged. Hold on to your friendship like you were never wronged. Hold on to that relationship like you were never wronged. But you don't get to continue to bring it up to beat somebody over the head with it. And so when I came to that realization, I became happier. Because withholding, and I don't want to say love, but the action of love was not just hurting my husband, it was debilitating to me. Because I wanted to love, right? Like, because I am full of love. Mm-hmm. But I felt like he needs to be punished. And this is how I punish him. And so, and that's very transparent, but that's very real. I'm not going to beat my husband upside the head. You know what I'm saying? But you did this, and I want you to know how much you hurt me. And even if he never gets it, and I believe he does, but I believe that some people are in relationships where a person, because my husband loves God too. So that's how I know that he gets it, because I know that he has sought God about his wrong. But even if, like, he doesn't, if I'm going to stay in a space, I got to stay in a space as the wife that God called me to be. I don't get to change those colors because I've been wronged. And I feel like I'm being repetitive, but I want to get that out. It's just like, and I'm happy. Like, I'm not having to put on a mask because mm-hmm. guess what? I'm coming home. I'm loving on my husband. I am doing those things, and I can't worry about maybe what if he's taking advantage of me or of my love, and he see how easy it is, so he's gonna go and do it again. Look at how easily she forgave me. I can't worry about a future wrong, because if I'm worrying about a future wrong, I'm never gonna be able to live in my present fully. And that's what was happening. It was because that's literally, I was withholding the love, because if I give up, if I let it out too soon, he's gonna not understand the severity of what he's did, and he's bound to do it again. Well, maybe. And I'll deal with that then. I cannot preemptively hurt, because that's really what I'm doing. Is I am making sure that all the hurt from the future never has to manifest, because I'm gonna cut this off right now. Without cutting it off, because I ain't gonna get no divorce, right? And it's just, it's weird, and I am thankful for God, because I've prayed through it a lot, and sought guidance on like how to feel okay, and just ask God to give me peace, and he has given me peace. But he's also like, you got to keep on loving. You've got to keep showing love. You don't get to say, well, I love him, Lord. Well, you have to continue to show him love, and you have to look at you, and this is a hard thing to do, is you have to look at you and say, like, what if I sin, right? Like, not on purpose. I try not to, like it, but if I find myself in sin, I repent. But I'm not actively out here sinning. Like, that's just not who I am. I'm not really actively out here, but withholding love from the man God gave me. That's a sin. And God ain't turned his back on me. God ain't said, okay, Crystal has repented, but there needs to be a waiting period so she doesn't do it again. Because if I do it again, there is grace and mercy. And he is right back there, whole prodigal daughter, throwing me a party. Welcome home. I don't get to punish if God ain't punishing. I don't get to withhold if God ain't withholding. And even if there hasn't been an apology, I want to live my life in a manner that is pleasing to God. And God is not pleased if I walk around in this manner. Anyway, that's my piece.
That's your piece.
Know
if Elisa can come behind that and talk about if she's happy or whatever it is that you guys are looking for Elisa to talk about. I think we talked a little bit in season 2 in one of our episodes.
We ain't got no season. We just got shows.
Whatever the episode was called, it was called Happiness, Love, and Friends. We were talking about happiness, love, and friends. Yeah. And I remember touching on happiness, like what is happiness? And I mentioned in there that you shouldn't rely on anybody else to make you happy. You should, always make yourself happy. Just because somebody's not doing what you want them to do doesn't mean that you shouldn't be happy. You need to find ways to make you happy. And as we're sitting here talking about it, I didn't just learn that offhand. I didn't know that growing up as a little girl or dealing with relationships that I've been through in the past. Like, I didn't know that then. I know that now, speaking as a wise woman. But I feel like, honestly, it's just very important when it comes to relationships, whether you're married or just dating, that it's just important for you to vet and find that right compatible person for you. And I guess the reason why I say that is because, like, over the years and learning my experiences and going through what I've gone through and where I'm at now today, I don't think that I've ever really took the time to sit somebody down and really vet out their lifestyle, vet out how they were raised, what their side of the family was like. Were you raised by a single parent? Was you raised by a father and a mother? Because those type of things matter. So for me, I've been in maybe 3 long-term, relationships. But for me, I feel like it was not a hindrance, but I feel like if you're in a long-term relationship, if you've only been with 3 guys in a long-term relationship, that's a lot of time wasted. You're still learning that person. you're still learning that person. And I think that it's, again, I just feel like it's very, very important to understand that the guy or the female that you are dating before you really get into a real long-term relationship, because I found myself being unhappy in situations because I'm learning different characteristics about this person where it's like, ooh, I didn't even know you was living like that. You know, or ooh, you know, you have some good qualities, but the qualities that I'm searching and I see, those are my main qualities that are my main pet peeves that I'm not liking. You know, and then, you know, you're finding that things that you're not liking, they become redundant. You know, redundant. And I mean, of course, you can get out of a relationship, right? But you know, when you're in relationships and you're young, you don't really know how fast and how soon to get out, because when you're hearing the stories that these men are telling you, they're telling you that, I'm sorry, baby, I understand, but you're still seeing the redundancy. It's still the same thing, and so it tends to frustrate you, which causes you to, you know, be in that unhappy place. Like, I know that I've been there. I've been very frustrated dealing with significant others over time. And I feel like in a relationship, if there's not a balance, then that can be hectic. If there's not a true balance in a relationship, then it can really be hectic. And I've been there too. Like, I feel like it's very important to know your partner's goals and aspirations, because that can deviate a relationship. It can cause a relationship to fall drastically if you all are not if you guys don't have the same goals. And they don't have to be the same goals, but I guess I can say a little bit of ambition. And if there's not balance, and you have been in a relationship for 10 years, and whether vice versa, whether it's the female or whether it's the male, if that person has become successful and you're still stagnant, that could be a problem. That can cause somebody in the relationship to be unhappy. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the male or the female, the successful one or the not successful one, somebody's going to be unhappy, because there's levels to it. Y'all are not living the same exact lifestyle, you know, of each other. So you might have that successful person, whether it's a male or a female, who is working working late night.
No cussing.
So I see what he saw. Y'all saw that. I mouthed it. But working their behind off, you know, late night hours, doing what they have to do, holding it down for their family. And you have the other significant other, whether female or male, who is not respecting it. What they're worried about more so is maybe their time, or they're worried about, I don't want to go too deep into it, but you guys get the drift of what I'm saying. And it's just, even if you are trying to help your significant other to build them, and it becomes a problem because you're trying to help them and they're not even being receptive to you helping them grow, that will cause you to be unhappy in your relationship. When you're trying to help your significant other and they're just not budging, or they're pushing back, or they're saying, you know what, I got it. You don't have to help me. I know what I'm doing. But 2-3 years going by and you're still in the same spot. In those instances, of course, you know, you're gonna have to just get up out the relationship. But, you know, in terms of being unhappy, like I can see relationships, and I can see people really being unhappy in those situations where there's just not a good balance in y'all's relationship. I can't be a housewife. You know, that's not me. I can't have a man that, I can have a man that's making more than me, but I can't just not have a job or sit there and do house duties and not be contributing, because I feel that mentally, and this is just the way I feel like men can become mentally abusive and controlling when they know that they have more than you and you don't have much. So, you know, my empowerment to just any female is always have your own. And male, like always have your own. Always be able to stand 10 toes down for yourself when things get rough. Because things may get rough. And when things get rough, when y'all get a divorce, when y'all break up, when y'all leave that y'all's relationship, that person that's making that money they straight. But you start from the bottom.
So are you technically family law attorney here?
So you, yeah, you probably can get some. It's gonna be, you can get something. You can get something. But still, you can walk out confidently. You might get 50, 60, 70%. Which is great. Which is great. Oh, talk to them. Which is great. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can fight for that if you have children involved, or, you know, however that works. You can fight for it. But still, you still want to be able to walk out feeling good and not having to fight for alimony or fight for child support, because you got it and you making it anyway.
Let me ask you this. Oh no, go ahead, breathe and keep going.
So I just, are you happy? Are you happy? I'm happy. I'm happy with myself. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with the decisions that I'm able to make for myself as a grown woman. I don't allow for men to make me unhappy, but I don't. And I think I put myself into this zone where I go into this protective mode. What you was describing. I go into this protective mode where I'm like, you know what? I just got to do me. You're not going to not make me unhappy. So I may act out. I may, I'm good at the silent treatment because I feel like, honestly, I do. I feel like I'm full of light. I know how to treat a man. I know how to treat my significant other. I know what a woman is supposed to do for a man. And I just feel like if you've done wrong to me and it's been repeated and redundant, and we've addressed this situation over again, I'm going into silent mode. I'm going into silent treatment as well, because I feel like I do feel like you. The longer, how you felt, but God talking to you and helping you out.
Thank you for delivering, Father. We praying for Lisa, y'all.
Yeah, keep continue to pray for me, because listen, I will be in it, and I will be in it as long as I feel like you need to be in it, because if you're gonna make me go and suffer through what I've suffered through and for months.
So is it that's a question I have for you.
Yeah.
Because I know for me it I don't know that it was retaliation so much as you need to know not to do this again. Right? Like if I give up too soon, you're gonna think it will that. But if you gotta sit with me not talking to you for 3 weeks, you don't want that.
But just understand that it takes time. It does take time.
My question to you though is this. When you do the silent treatment, is it because like, oh, is it retaliate? Like, you did that to me, I'm gonna do this to you, or is it really like, yo, like he needs to feel the weight of what he did?
I feel like that's the same. I feel like it's both or the same thing. I feel like it's a sense of frustration to me, and it's a sense of frustration to me. So I'm gonna let you know silently that you've done wrong, and until I get ready to talk about it again, you're gonna have to wait for it. Well, because sometimes when I get into that phase of my life, or where I go to my silent treatment, I go there because I'm trying not to hit below the waist. I'm trying not to hurt your feelings in the moment at this time. So I have to step back and I have to give you that silent treatment. Okay. And I will be okay. I will be okay because a lot of men can't handle silent treatment at all. Okay, and because they can't handle silent treatment, they are doing things to provoke you, to get you to talk, or to get you to just revert back to the ways, the good ways. And I can't take that. I can't take that. I cannot take somebody steady jabbing at me, trying to get me to talk when I'm not ready to talk. And then you're trying to prove your point while I'm mad, but you're not really proving your point, because everything that you're saying is going against whatever it is that I'm thinking. So don't even talk right now. Give me my space, give me my time, because you're not doing nothing but boiling and escalating the situation more than what it is, because the stuff that you're saying is only escalating the situation. You're not de-escalating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there might be some men out there that know how to de-escalate situations, but there are other men out there who, when they're angry, they're just talking just to hear themselves talk, just to stroke their ego, and they're confused and trying to figure out why you're mad at them when in actuality you should know, and you know why. You know why I'm mad at you.
Because I said something about when you did it.
Okay.
Don't think
Like,
it's been a week.
I'm not going to repeat myself.
Ain't nothing changed just because it's been a week.
Yeah. So, you know, again, I think that in relationships, you will get into those spats and you will get into those disagreements, and that's natural for you to have. I think having God in your circle and having God in your you know, in your relationship is very important, so that you guys can have somebody to turn to.
Mm-hmm,
you know what I'm saying? And even a counselor. You know, I think relationships, if you really want it to work, I think you should be in therapy, you should be in counseling, and you should definitely be seeking God, going to church together, so you guys can find a better understanding of each other and better way to communicate with each other. But relationships are very, very, very challenging, and I know that there are a lot of people that are probably stuck in relationships that are not happy at all.
So what do you do, like, if you're absent, like, feeling like, you know, and I know you don't have the answers, right? Like, you know, whatever. But, like, okay, absent feeling like God has me here, right? Like, why are you staying? If you're unhappy and it's a constant thing, right? Like, I'm not saying, like, my husband and I ain't on no unhappy train.
Yeah.
We had a moment, right? And so that lasted longer than I wanted it to last. And that's why I really, really began to seek stuff, because I'm just like, yo, we still here, dog. And so I'm going to either be here, I'm going to be gone, you know? So with the unhappiness, right, like, is it that you, okay, like, so, and I'm not talking about you as a person, whatever, but, like, is it that you, and maybe y'all can comment on this, like, you know it's going to pass, and if you know it's going to pass, why are you not helping to facilitate the passing? And I'm talking to y'all and I'm talking to me. Well, like I've gotten to a point where I realized, like, what I was doing, and I'm just like, you know, like, if he doesn't in the future, he doesn't in the future, but I don't get to anticipate the future and preemptively punish him for the future, right? And which is, and again, affecting me. It's affecting because it affected my mental health. Like, I went through some Lisa felt the results of a little episode today. So I went through some things, you know what I'm saying? And so it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just going to be quiet, you know what I'm saying, to my husband, and I'm going to go out with my girlfriends. I didn't feel like doing none of that. Like, people calling me, and I'm just kind of listening to your fun time or listening to your sad time. And I'm like, I got all this going on because I won't release it. And you can't release, you have no ability to release it when you're still acting as if you're in it. And that silent treatment is acting as if you're in it. And I know that, but that's me.
That's you.
Like, you're saying, like, I'm
going out with my girls. And listen, I'm not about to be stressed out in this house with you. Okay. Going through it, and we going out.
So are you genuinely having a good time, or are you going out as a distraction?
No. You know, when you're going out with your girls, you know it's genuinely a good time. Period. Like. Yeah, no, okay. And I know what you, I know. Okay. I know and I'm trying
to put myself in the space.
That's how you. No. I mean, it can go by both ways for anybody, regardless.
I guess you can genuinely have a good time, but is it in the back of your mind when you're out? Like, is the going back to this space in the back? Because I'm going out to dinner.
Here, this is okay. So we're talking about just not being happy. So we're not talking about like. We're not talking about like abusive relationships or, you know. I
am in no way talking about any physical abuse any
like we're talking about that things that could possibly be fixed. We're not talking about like we could be talking about a little bit of mental abuse or something like that, but what we're talking about, in my opinion, I'll see you later. I'm about to go hang out with my girls because what you own, I ain't on right now.
So you come home, you go hang out with your girls. Right, like, you're like, you know, you want something, whatever.
Or happy hour by myself, because I can do that too.
Yeah, because I'm like, eat an oyster, baby. Hello. But my question to you is this. So, like, you go out with your girls, like, y'all beefing. You go out with your girls, and you're happy. You switch that happy off when you come home?
No, do I switch it back off?
Like, so now you home. You've had this wonderful 5 hours. I don't know how long people go out with your people. When you come home, you just turned it off and give them the silent treatment, and now you're in a space. So, like, what does that look like?
I mean, it looked both ways. Like I've been in situations where I've come home and act like he didn't exist because I'm still mad at the situation, and I've come home where I have had a clear level. I'm clear now. I went out, I got my mind right, and now I'm willing to talk.
Okay.
So it can go both ways.
So you're not so me. Let me tell you, when you wrong me, I want me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about it right then. Like I don't withhold myself immediately. I'm gonna talk about it, but it doesn't. Let me say this. I'm gonna talk about it, but I've realized this thing. Talking about it doesn't resolve it for me. I used to think it did. It does not. It does not. I can get it off my chest. And you can say you're sorry. You can whatever. And I'm just telling what you still shouldn't have did it.
Yes.
Then why do we just spend 4 hours? If that's gonna be worth it, you know what I'm saying? Look, y'all pray for my husband. You know what I'm saying? But like, is that a thing that you do? Like when the offense first? And look, let me just be real clear. I don't know how many men watch our podcast. We are coming from a very black girl. We are coming from a very our perspective as women, right? So men, Lord knows, y'all bless y'all. But like, okay, so when do you talk about it right then? Or do you just wait? You're like, I can't talk about it.
When I get to, I can't talk about it. I'm silent treatment. When I get there, it's because I've already said it several times.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's become an issue. So when I see something, I'll address it head on. Like I don't wait for things to build up and then speak about it. It is at the point where it's like, I done told you 4 or 5 times, like, you're not no little kid. And now I'm just frustrated. Right. So you're going to give me my space at this time. Right. Because, apparently communication is not effective with you. So maybe the silent treatment will be.
Right. Okay. And I think that's fair. Like, I hear you.
Yeah.
When you say, like, now, like I said, I feel like when you... So what are your thoughts on what I just said? Well, we talked about this. We didn't flesh it out because we said we're going to leave it. We're going to say this for Unplugged. Okay. What are your thoughts on the method that I've just learned in the last little bit about, like, approaching the situation as if it was God on the other end?
Yeah, I find that to be really hard on my end. I'm just going to keep it real with you.
This is my favorite person. I love her so much. I
talk to God and I ask God to reveal things to me. And God revealed things to me. But I do not agree that I think God hears me and God never forsakes me and God understands me. Okay. And with him understanding me, I am right. So I have no issues with God. Okay? So I love you. Okay. So I have no issues with God.
Cool. The people ain't with God.
Okay? Shit. Unplugged.
At least I don't even use no profanity.
I do not. Only when I'm mad.
I'm the person.
It's
I'm
my
getting
sister.
delivered from that.
It's my sister all the way.
You might hear this mouth go off, right? God is working on me, baby. This one right here don't use no profanity.
I do not.
Why are you
unless I'm mad?
Look,
you talking about a sensitive subject right now.
I love you. But we wanted to come on here for transparency because I think we get on here, we be like, oh my God, our relationship is so great.
Okay.
Oh my God, our husband's outside with everything. Yes, he is the greatest person I know all the time. I'm about to cuss him out every day. You know what I mean?
I ain't even talking to him.
He was saying about your brother. Okay. I'm sick of this brother. Right? Like that, but that's like a part of my life. Like,
everything is just not perfect, right?
It's not. And sometimes it's periods. And people tell you that. Like, I remember hearing people when, you first get married, when I was younger, like even my first marriage, like, I went 2 years without talking to my husband, without loving my husband. And I always thought I've not gone to.
That's extreme though.
Let me tell you a thing or two. If I feel like I gotta go 24 months, look, over 700 days,
I'm at the door.
Without talking to you, this ain't what God wants for me, right? Like that's where I am. But I don't feel like that. I just feel like in my situation, like I just want to do better, right? That's what I tell my husband all the time. You got to consider me. I feel like you're not considering me, and so, but also I've learned. Like, we don't think exactly alike, and sometimes I'm just not considering him. And I think I'm right all the time. I'm gonna tell y'all, if you haven't caught on, well, y'all know I think I'm right all the time.
Any man that has known me or have dated me know that my last name is Wright.
She right.
There's no other way.
That's right. That's right. But when I have said, that
just playing.
like I'm just gonna say I haven't even had, but full disclosure, my husband and I went to counseling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we have this amazing therapist. She is I love her with my whole heart. Like,
That's great to hear.
She is. Oh,
that's great.
And it was so funny because she a black girl. We about to run out of time. I tell you this real fast. She a black girl, so I was like, she don't understand these black girl problems.
Okay.
And so she did. Like when I told her stuff, she raised her eyebrow. Like what? I'm like, yes, girl. You know. And then right. Then I went to tell her something the other day. She said, I want you to, and this was a private session. My husband was there, so she said, raise your hand and smack yourself on the hand for me real fast. And I was just like, she was like,
really?
no, Crystal. And I was just like, I felt myself in the session tense up. Like, she done turned on me.
Uh-oh.
I literally felt like, I don't want to hear her tell me that I'm wrong. Like, come on, you're black too. You're a black woman too. We see eye to eye. But she did. She stopped me and she was like, you don't get to do that. And I was like, and I would, in this session, I started praying like, Lord, because I could feel my body was so tense. I was ready to reject what she had to say because she was she told me to smack myself on the hand. So I was like, she about to say I'm wrong. And sure enough, she was like, but I prayed, I said, Lord, I need to receive this. We are doing this together. I need to receive this. And so I did. And as she talked to me, I softened and I just went to my husband, and we're good now. Like we're still in the counseling because I think it's amazing.
I think it's very important in any relationship.
Oh, it's so amazing. So let me tell you something. I just think it's amazing. So we're still doing it.
I love that.
But I go to him, I was like, oh my God, let me tell you what she told me today. And so I told him, talking about the session or whatever. And I just am like, I don't get to do that to you, And so to be able to see yourself, and I think that's helpful with the counseling or whatever. But to then to come to the realization with the spirit, like on my own, just like God is not pleased with this. He's just not like, even though yes, I am not in any way saying my husband has not wronged me. But my reaction still has to be pleasing to God for me, Lisa. I ain't not to you. You know what I'm saying? But I don't get to ride on like God know me. God know what this brother did. He know how he made me. That's me. That was me. Like you know how you made me. Fix him.
Yeah, I didn't do nothing wrong.
Look, he the head of this household.
I didn't do nothing wrong.
Like I'm all of that with me and God is like, girl, pipe down. Right? Like if I was right there watching this behavior, no matter what he did, you think I'd be pleased if I was right there? I'm not pleased, and I'm not in the physical presence, right? Like I'm not pleased with that behavior. And then it's so great because there's no condemnation. So it's not even like God was like bullying me or mad at me. It was just like, I want you to do everything that pleases me, like everything in a way that I would be pleased. And so you don't get to do this here in a way that is not pleasing to me because I should just understand about what you're going through. I got you, and I'm protecting you, but I want you to walk through this world the way I called you to walk through this world. Amen. I want you to walk this world and be readily identifiable as my daughter. And right now, people wouldn't be able to know you from the world. And what I do want to be is distinguishable from the world. And so if that looks like loving my husband when I feel like he's not lovely. And I'm going to say this real fast. And I'm going to say this real fast. And this is my confession. I know my husband watches this. I know he watches.
Hey,
oh, they want to see Usher, baby.
Want to see
Usher, baby. For my birthday.
I'm gonna get there. I got to get that experience. But
my husband treats me well.
Yes, he does. I'm sure. Yes, I know.
And so he makes mistakes because he is human.
Yes.
But he doesn't do me the way I do him. When he makes mistakes, and that's a very real thing, and I'm very aware of that. And I think that because I make so little, like I'm like my mistake wasn't all that, right? Like of course you are. No, like it wasn't all that to me, but it affected him gravely, right? And it's like his mistake was not all that to him, but it affected me gravely. But he does, like if I apologize, because I'm a big I'm gonna pop off. So I am a big I'm about to cut you. You know what I'm saying with my words. And so after, you can't take that back. And so he just will be so gracious. He will be so gracious. And not once I'm like, oh, I deserved it, but just like, okay, babe, it's cool, like we good. And so, and I've learned that it really does it affects him. But he doesn't treat me like he's gonna embrace me at the end of the night. If I apologize and I'm sincere, he is gonna kiss me and baby, it's all right. That sincere part. He is gonna.
That's the sincere part.
My husband has apologized and been sincere, and I have just been like, you ain't sincere enough. And that's not fair. That is not fair. And he recognizes so my husband recognizes what he has in the relationship in me. He recognizes who we are. He recognizes who God called us to be. And he is very, very aware of that. Like, he is very, very aware of what our marriage means to God. And while I say I'm aware of it, like I said, I can walk around the house, and if God were to see me walking around the house, he would be like, hey, I thought you were my child.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So are you naturally saying, like, you pop off of retaliation?
Yes.
Are you okay? You're not just
I don't just attack him.
Okay.
That ain't who I am.
Okay.
That is not who I am.
Yeah.
My husband is a So what he'll do if I get upset and we disagree, he'll just be like, all right, you got it. He is. I have married my father, so that's who he is. He ain't no big time arguing. That's not. He's just gonna be like, all right, you got it. You got one time to argue, you got at me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so then I will, or he'll say something. So you know, I don't want to get
no.
Because he's done things. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, yo, that's not cool. And he'll be like, well, whatever. And then I'm just like, okay. I don't do what he did, but I'm just like, and you did this because, and then I start attacking his character. Like, I know that you did this because of this. And he's like, yo, you out of line. You know what I'm saying? He'll tell me in a minute, like, you way out of line. You way out of line. And I'm just, I don't care. You know, whatever. And then it's just like, but if I never initiate things with him. I never purposely, like, cause if he says I've affected him, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't mean to do that. Like, I'm so sorry, you know? And so, and he said, you know, stuff recently, like, you always say that wasn't intentional, but how do you always find yourself here? And I just feel, girl, I feel like, because no one is thinking it the way that you think about it. Like, what are you talking about? And y'all told
that's
me
why I
this
asked you
recently.
that part too. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I told you recently. He was just like, you know, you for years you have said, I don't even see it that way. And I'm like, because I don't walk around the world looking for things like that. Like, what are you even on? You know what I'm saying? And so, anyway, like, we're talking in code because, you know,
to a certain extent, y'all.
So, like, I don't.
Y'all know how to read between the lines.
Yes, I don't, and you know, y'all married,
we gave enough information.
Y'all married, y'all get it or whatever. But I don't intentionally. And here's the thing, I don't. With the exception of this most recent thing, I don't think that any of the things that my husband has done have been intentional to harm me, to hurt me, to ain't who he is. He ain't that person. But it's just like I said. But I have still felt like, you know, I want him to know that this really affected me. If I act like, okay, babe, you said you're sorry, like he's gonna do it again.
No way.
I have to teach him a lesson. And that's just not real.
No, that's real. Sorry, guys. We go agree to disagree.
No, like, but for me, it's not like, no, like, and if he does it again, Lisa, then I have to resolve to let God be God in every situation. I cannot start being God. Like, God has to be God in all that I do. And that looks like in my marriage when I am hurting. Like, God says he heals the brokenhearted. Yeah, right? Like, that's the Bible. Yep. And he will keep me in perfect peace. That's Amen Bible in every situation, right? And so, but we want to take over when we're mad. And we want to not glorify God in our actions when we're mad.
Are we want to pray when we're mad and ask God for, you know, to repent for our sins or whatever it is that we've done?
Well, we walk around it.
After we've done what we've done. After we've
So let me ask you this. Oh, we overtime. We said 45 minutes, but this is a topic for you.
It is.
So do you feel like, I don't know what Jigs' relationship with Christ is, you know what I'm saying? And so do you feel like it has to do with his relationship with Christ? Like, do you feel like, I don't know.
That could be, I think that our relationship needs Christ in it. And if it doesn't have it, there are going to be a lot of gaps. You know, that we don't understand if we can't seek God together. So
that's real. That's real.
So both he and I together we lack. You know, both being together, doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows, I know,
Mm-hmm.
I do my own thing, maybe a little bit more than him now or whatever, but we're not doing it together.
Okay.
And I think that could be part of the problem as well.
And I do think, because one of my big things when we used to have a lot of issues, or is not a lot of issues, when we'd have issues earlier in our marriages, because I was so spiritually grounded, and my husband just he knew God. What did he say? He prayed for family, faith, and finances, but not like I did. And so it was very hard for me when I'm looking for like spiritual leadership. Not that I needed it. Like I don't necessarily need a spiritual leader, but like in my brain, in my ideal marriage, I would have a spiritual leader. I would have someone who was, waking up and just leading me in what the Lord would have us do, and not me like, oh, okay, this is what the Lord said. This is how we should move or whatever. And so it caused a lot of problems. I don't want to keep saying a lot in our marriage, and I kept saying like it's the spiritual leadership, and I would say that's what our therapist said. She was like, it sounds like it's spiritual leadership, and I'm like, I've been saying that for years. That's why I thought we was locked in for real, because I was like, oh shit,
here you go.
The whole time she
that bias though.
Also as well, Crystal is a lot to deal with, so and I don't know what she said in his sessions or whatever, but I do think that my desire to please God outweighs my desire to teach my husband a lesson. And it's
absolutely.
it doesn't even come in the form of, because God gonna get him. Like, it's not even on that for me. It's like, you know what? When the Lord was like, yo, I'm not pleased with your behavior. I'm not saying that Galen was right. He didn't say he was wrong either. But this is about you. And you steady hollering, there's judgment day, and I just want God to be pleased. And I am not pleased with this behavior. And I want God to be pleased. And I want my husband to feel loved. You get one life here on earth, and God said you got to spend it for the rest of your life with me. We took a vow before the Lord. That man is called to spend the rest of his life with me, and I'm not going to spend it making him miserable.
No, and I'm not going to spend it being miserable. So something's going to have to give.
I love my sister, but she's not married, right? Like, so I don't think that's fair, but like, I'm not going to spend my life. I want to love him with everything that I have that's love, and I want him to feel it, because I know that I love him in my heart, because y'all know I'm a believer. Like, I love that man since October 12, 2013. I loved him day one, right? Like, that's a real thing, and my love for him has never changed. But like I said, I just felt like, well, you don't get it. Let me help you get it. And it's like, but God's got it. And so, and I am charged with loving him. And I am charged with loving and supporting and submitting to him. So a thing that we started doing too, which is really great, is asking each other, what do you need from me today? I love that. And so, like I say, like, I just need softness. Like, I need you to be soft to me, And so, and then he'll tell me what he needs, And so,
I love that.
It's good because
it's a great way to start the day.
It is, and throughout the
great
day,
understanding.
When things come up, you can remember, like, she said she needed me to be soft. And so, and he said he needed this, and so it's good.
I think that's great.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
So I am thankful for knowing God and being able to submit, and not that you don't know that, but being able to submit to God, like arresting me and saying like, yo, this behavior is not okay, because nobody could have told me that the behavior is not okay. You know what I'm saying? Other than God, and so I'm very thankful for that. But we have gone on. This is supposed to be 45 minutes. We hope y'all got something from it.
We hope y'all enjoy.
If nothing other than look into our lives and knowing that our lives are not perfect. Marriage is not perfect. It's not. But it, we're pressing.
We women, we're gonna get through it with the grace of God.
That's right.
With the counseling.
Yes.
You gotta put in work.
Yes.
Sometimes
you do.
You gotta put in work sometimes, however that looks, to make the relationship pan out the way that it's supposed to.
Right.
And if it's not, and you're in the eyes of the behold, he will reveal yourself for that person, and you will move on. But it's always important to make sure that you are keeping God first, front, and that you are, if you're in a relationship and you're trying to figure out if you want to get in or get out, seek counseling. Right?
Agreed. All right, we love y'all. We sure appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us.
Thank y'all.
For another
We crazy. We crazy.
Look, we just out here. Like, y'all out
black
here.
Black girl.
We are just out here.
Doing
All
our
right,
thing.
y'all. See y'all later.
Peace.